from you since Liverpool, and even with all your experience in the game, how difficult a week has it been?
As I told you before, it was tough. We didn't expect what the last results in the Premier League, but I hope this time we change the page, and everyone knows his role in the team. There's not only the coach that many people point out, is the players as well. But I believe that something happened for a reason. And we have to be happy for this amazing afternoon. We win 3-0 in a away stadium, difficult against a difficult team, and we are so pleased for that and happy.
How much credit does the coach deserve, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, under that amount of pressure? I'm sure you read and heard some of it, all that criticism, all that scrutiny.
Not only for the coach, for the club, for the players. It's normal. The club, it's so big, and the criticism is always there, but
Does it bother you?
Sorry?
Does it bother you?
For me, it's not bothering me because I play 18 years football, so I know that one day is perfect and another day we are crap. I know that, and we have to deal with that. But it's always better when when the people praise you and they are happy with you and you win. But sometimes the life is like that. Sometimes we have to pass through bad moments, and we have to change, and we changed today.
Thank you for coming out. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Well, the reaction of the crowd, as you saw on that commentary to the Lucas Moura substitution, was not a good sign for Nuno Espirito Santo. Then yesterday, the news came out that the Tottenham board were meeting, and today, this morning, confirmation that he has been sacked. Let's go to Alex Aljo then, who is outside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, who can talk us, Alex, through the events of the sort of last 28 hours or so.
Yes, Mark, after 4 months and 17 games in charge in all competitions, Nuno Espirito Santo and Tottenham Hotspur have parted ways. I think it was inevitable after that defeat on Saturday. The atmosphere here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was so hostile. There were fans actually turning round to the journalists in the press box asking, when is Nuno going to be sacked? They started well. They started the season well, winning the first 3 league games, but it's been a gradual decline since then. There's been a lack of creativity. There's an unbelievable stat, actually. They haven't had a shot on target in their last 2 hours and 16 minutes of football, which is unbelievable, really, when you think the likes of Son Heung-min and Harry Kane are on the pitch. World-class players underperforming. As you mentioned, Mark, there were emergency talks yesterday at the training ground with Daniel Levy and Fabio Paratici. They were talking about whether to sack Nuno now or wait a little bit and wait to see whether they have a replacement. Nuno went to the training ground as normal this morning, and we believe that is when they told him he had been relieved of his duties. And the club released a statement just before 10 a.m. local time here. Paratici said, "I know how much Nuno and his coaching staff wanted to succeed. I regret that we have had to take this decision. Nuno is a true gentleman and will always be welcome here. We should like to thank him and his coaching staff and wish them well for the future." A further coaching update will follow in due course. So Tottenham now looking for their 4th permanent manager in the last 3 years. It's believed they're in the latter stages of talks with Antonio Conte, who was actually top of their list to come in to take over in the summer, but Antonio Conte only left Inter Milan in May. He said he wanted to take a year off, switch off from football, focus on his family, and Levy was unable to reach an agreement with him. But it is believed that he will be arriving in London today. We have got our eyes peeled looking at Lily White House. Maybe he'll arrive here later on today. But yeah, it would be an amazing appointment if they were to get Antonio Conte. I was speaking to a Spurs fan outside here earlier. He said he was in a total state of shock because he thought it would just be another mediocre appointment. But yeah, what a manager Antonio Conte is. He'd be unbelievable here at Tottenham.
Alex, thank you very much indeed. We'll get to that bridge in a second about who might replace Alex. A cold wind blowing through Tottenham, literally and figuratively, as we can see there with Alex. The minute, I mean, you've played for clubs when the manager's been sacked. Watching the game, the minute the fans behind were standing up going, "You don't know what you're doing," you're thinking, this is not a good sign, is it? It's because not a one-off. Because of their form since August, you're thinking this is not going the right way.
As soon as Lucas Moura's running to the touchline, there was a shot of Nuno in his technical area. I was looking behind Nuno, and all you can see are the shots of people going like that, and what are you doing? And then you know the locals are restless, and performances have been poor, and individual performances of the player. I know Nuno has to take a lot of the blame, but players have to be accountable as well, without a doubt.
I mean, Alex said it there, no shot on goal in over 2 hours, 3 of the last 4 halves. Yeah. So the weekend and the second half against West Ham. No shot on goal.
No, and there's always a number that puts a manager's job at risk, and there's always a performance, and there's always one that tips it over the edge. And when you see fans venting inside the stadium and they're singing you don't know what you're doing, you're getting sacked in the morning, etc., etc. Daniel Levy is a businessman. He's, oversaw a brand new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that he wants full every single week for different events, and he's watching the last 20 minutes of that game of all the Tottenham fans just emptying the stadium. That's when you know something's going to happen. Yeah.
Let's just have a look at that substitution again, and we'll be quiet and you can hear what the reaction was as Lucas Moura comes off. Because when they appointed him, and let's be blunt, he was about 7th choice. Yeah. I mean, he really genuinely was. Antonio Conte, first choice, who may well be now. Then you had Brendan Rodgers, the Ajax manager, wasn't it? You had Gattuso, Fonseca, absolutely. Yeah. So when he was appointed, Daniel Levy said, we want somebody, and we're confident we've got somebody who's going to play in the Tottenham way,
well, that was
the attacking Tottenham way, which was
bluff,
not the way he played at Wolves, was it?
Well, forget that. Paratici's a sporting director who likes defensive football. That's what Paratici likes. That's what he's built his model on. So the fit going for Nuno, I could understand because Nuno's quite a defensive manager. But the fit going into Tottenham is not the right fit. It's like when Mourinho went there. Yeah. You knew it was going to end in tears because the styles just don't match up. And I think where Nuno takes a lot of the blame for that Man United performance was when the team sheets came in and you see Man United line up with 3 at the back and 2 wing-backs. The most important people for Tottenham, when they're playing a 4 at the back, is their 2 full-backs. And how he come up with Ben Davies over Reguilon at left-back, I'll never know. And he didn't make the change. Because Reguilon, his strength is getting on the ball. That's the outlet. Let's fast forward a few days and, what Man United do against Man City, and you give Cancelo and Kyle Walker that time on the ball if they play the same system. But it was the performance, it's the lack of goals. Your star men are not performing. Harry Kane is way off the Harry Kane that we've seen over the years. The worry now is where do they go? Because Antonio Conte got interviewed in the summer, and apparently he's looked at what Tottenham need, and he needs windows to get players out. Most of those players, I would say, are not good enough, and I'll stand by that. So a lot of those players were the same players that played under Poch, same players that played under Mourinho, and now Nuno. It can't be all the manager's fault. The group of players have got to look in the mirror and think this is down on us. They've got to take responsibility for sure. But if Antonio Conte is the man that comes in, he's going to
want a lot of money, isn't he?
Not so much money, but he's going to say to Daniel Levy, I want 7 players. And Daniel Levy will say, you've got 2.
Yeah, well, no, 7 players is a lot of money.
Antonio Conte will say, I want 7. And he'll say, you've got 2. And Antonio Conte will go, goodbye.
Big changes, if he goes in. Absolutely huge change. I've said it before, again, clubs that have been successful in the Premier League, they have a manager that takes charge of the whole football club. Wenger and Sir Alex and Mourinho.
Klopp's done it at Liverpool.
Liverpool were in the same boat
ages ago.
They take charge of the football club, and they are allowed to do so. That's never going to happen at Spurs. I think Conte going in would be a brilliant fit for the playing side of the game, to get the players to realise, if you don't run about and work hard, you're not playing for me. Simple as that.
They need a change, I know, because basically they appointed a sort of mini Mourinho, didn't they, in Nuno, in the way that he approaches football. So all this sort of Tottenham DNA, flowing football, the last 2 appointments have been the complete antithesis of that, haven't they?
But you look at what Tottenham have got, and you look what Nuno had, and he had people like Moutinho and Neves. Yeah. Footballers that can handle the ball. And that's what, whoever the new manager is going to be, if it's Antonio Conte flying into London, he will be well aware, and he will have done his homework in the summer. Tottenham squad. Where are their strengths? How many weaknesses have they got? And they've got loads. How many players are on a free ride? Because I look at most of the Tottenham players, and there's probably half a dozen where I'd say, they're on it and they're trying. They're not the same level, that's for sure. But I say there's a good 10, 12 players where you go, you're just on a free ride. You're just getting paid a lot of money, but you're not doing it.
Shift, isn't it? There's a lot of players.
I go back, Dion, and I've said it week after week after week. When Jose Mourinho called Dele Alli in and said, "You are the worst trainer at this football club," that would destroy me as a professional.
It would, yeah.
It would absolutely destroy me, and it would destroy me all afternoon until that night when I went to bed and I'd put my alarm clock on. I'd be the first one in training the next day. I'd be the last one to leave.
Dele Alli is not the issue, not the biggest issue for the next manager. It's clearly Harry Kane. The next manager has got that enormous elephant in the room to deal with.
Yeah,
what does he do?
I've spoke about Harry Kane so many times, and I've said he is the perfect specimen when it comes to being a centre forward, 6'4", great shape, works really hard. I haven't seen that Harry Kane for a long time. He's dropping deep, he's not scoring goals. To me, he looks unfit. He looks unhappy.
He looks unfit?
Yes, he looks unfit to me. His body language isn't great.
Yeah.
Not just him, but I'm looking at Harry Kane because I think he's the best in the world. Million miles off it. Son hasn't been the same. The whole of that Spurs side don't have a leader.
See, I would disagree with you.
Look at those stats for Harry Kane.
I would disagree with you, Mark, on Harry Kane and Son, because those are the two players you get back. If you're a manager, you get
Of course, you get them back on side.
You get them back on side.
But does Harry Kane want to be back on side?
That's the question.
But then, if he's not, you get him out the door and you ship him off in January.
That's what I mean. It's 1st of November today.
But
2 months today, he could be going somewhere else.
Mark, those two are not the problem. Though Harry Kane and Son, they're not the problem. Højbjerg, they're not the problem. It's the squad that they've got. It's the culture at the football club. It's wrong. The players are coming in and they're... You know, the stories I've heard about Ndombele parking the chief executive spot every single day because he's late every single day for training. There's no discipline at the football club.
If you're Antonio Conte, if he is the favourite, he obviously is the favourite, why would you go to Tottenham when there could be a job at Manchester United, potentially?
Yeah, well, that could be a brilliant power play from Antonio Conte. You think when Ronaldo was going to go to Man City and then Man United hijacked it, he could be coming into Tottenham for an interview. And all of a sudden, he might be forced in Man United's hand.
But you know, on the other hand, if you look at Spurs as a football club, it's huge. You know, the stadium is huge. The potential at that football club is massive. You know, packed out every single home game.
I'm not sure. Does Antonio Conte do potential? He wants now.
I know, but he's not going to get
Conte.
now, is he? He's not going to get now because they're not going to give him
Antonio Conte.
That's what I'm saying. That's why. Why would he? Would the argument be if you're Conte's advisors, you're not going to get now with Tottenham. You might get it in 3 years' time. But he's all about the now.
He knows there's a Manchester derby playing this weekend, Antonio Conte. And he knows in 6 days' time...
You're so devious.
No, I'm
so
not.
Devious,
Dion, it's what they're thinking. Why seriously, on a serious note, when you look at Spurs' squad, why seriously, apart from a wage packet, when Antonio Conte doesn't need a wage packet, why would he take Tottenham?
That's what I'm asking. Yeah, why would he not hang on potentially for another half of the league?
It's a 3 or 4 year project.
Yeah.
And Harry Kane will be 31, 32 by then.
Yeah. Let's hear from a former Tottenham player, shall we? Jamie O'Hara's been following this one clearly. Jamie, first up, I don't think you'll be surprised at all about the news this morning.
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, look, the performance against Manchester United was abysmal. You know, no intensity, no passion, lack of ideas. I mean, you have hit it the nail on the head, really, with what you're saying about the whole situation. And you know, I think it's a bit harsh to say that Antonio Conte is using Spurs as sort of leverage to get to Manchester United. I think, you know, I have to disagree with that. I think Spurs is still a huge football club, a brilliant stadium. You know, the training facilities are amazing in London. And, you know, we are owned by a billionaire. So I think it's got to the point now where Daniel Levy's looked at it. He tried the cheap option with Nuno. It hasn't worked out. The reaction from the players wasn't good. The training, they were moaning about the training. So you need to get someone in who's going to make a statement. And I think that is Antonio Conte. Hopefully, they can get it done.
Jamie, he's tried to make a statement before Daniel Levy, of course, with Jose Mourinho, which worked for a bit, didn't it, this time last year? Yeah. Tottenham were top, and then obviously we all know what happened after that. It hasn't worked with Nuno, who was a sort of less good version, if you like, of Mourinho. So it's incumbent upon Daniel Levy now really to get this right, because Daniel Levy, was getting stick as much as Nuno was over the weekend.
Absolutely right. I mean, Daniel Levy's got to take a lot of heat for this because he's the man in charge. He's the guy who's got put this squad together, the manager, and bring the whole club together. And he's got it wrong. He's got it totally wrong with Nuno. It become a fiasco in the summer. Inspiration signing with Nuno in the end to bring him in. They should have just been patient. Ryan Mason was actually doing an okay job. I think they went out and tried to get Conte. Didn't happen, wasn't interested. And now the pressure's built. He's seen that this team isn't playing well with Nuno. But, I was listening to you guys. You got it right. The players have to take a lot of blame as well. They've down tools with Pochettino. They down tools with Mourinho. And now they've done it with Nuno. So, how many more managers do we need to change before actually you look at the players and say, this is unacceptable? Because the way they're running about, you talked about training and being the first guy in. Absolutely. It's a disgrace that these players can actually come in and think you can turn up late and not be there on time and, not run around for the club or the team. And the performance against Manchester United was, forget tactics, forget the result, the effort, the lack of effort in the team was a disgrace.
Jamie, so that sort of goes to my point there. Conte goes in. He's a no-nonsense manager. He likes characters of players to be strong, to deal with a telling off, so to speak, if you're not doing the right things. Have you got the right characters within that Spurs dressing room to deal with a manager like that?
I think so. Look, you need to get Harry Kane back on side. I don't know how you do that because he looks disinterested. Maybe bringing in Antonio Conte is a step towards that, trying to get him back on side. But I think you've got leaders there. You've got Hugo Lloris. You've got Eric Dyer. He's been there for a long time. You've got Højbjerg. Son, Kane. No, come on, the squad is good enough to be performing way better than it is. He's not coming in to take over Newcastle where you need to change 8-9 players.
Don't say that to Don. Don't say that to Don. He won't be happy. Don't mention Newcastle with Don.
Don't ruin the dream. Don't ruin the dream, Jamie. He's going to Newcastle.
I don't know if Conte wants to play against, Ipswich Town.
Stop it!
Brilliant, Jamie. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it. I know you'll carry on talking more about this as well throughout the week. Thank you very much indeed. To Jamie O'Hara. The amazing thing is football's full of great stories and sliding doors moments. If Tottenham had won 3-0, we might be talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer right now. So we should say something about Manchester United.
Yes.
Change their tactics.
Yeah.
And then the first goal made on the playing fields of Portugal.
Incredible finish. Really amazing timing from both players. Lovely little wedge in there. No chance. And Ronaldo's just going through that process.
Tell everybody what you said to me.
Yeah, he would have lost sight of that for about half a second. But he has to go through the motions of when that ball comes over his head, my timing has to be absolutely spot on. He's only one of those players that could do that. What a finish this is.
I love the way Ronaldo sees the pass, but then he falls off balance and he's nearly fallen down, but then still produces the weighted pass to Cavani. And I'll stand by, when you're picking a Man United side, you start Cavani every single time.
Yep.
If he's fit, because he's contagious, he's got energy, he's got passion. You see when he scores a goal how much it means to him. This, by the end, Marcus Rashford, a lovely little finish, but this didn't even flatter Man United, this scoreline. Could have been 4 or 5. It was just far too easy.
It's too easy, that, isn't it?
To be honest, Mark, though, it's a movie that I've seen before, and I've not met anyone before this game who didn't predict a Man United win. Everyone thought it was going to be a Man United win. Now, playing 3 at the back, I would imagine, is not going to be long-term for Ollie. It's a short-term fix, because why would you then switch to 3 at the back if you're going to play that every single week and you've amassed 6 or 7 number 10s in your squad that you're just going to now discard? And the front 2 at the top end of the pitch there, age combined was 70.
Yeah, so that's me and Chris. That's me and Chris, 70.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Tottenham have won 5 and lost 5. They've actually won, a good number of games. But look how few goals they've scored. Look at their goal difference. And, of course, the first 3 games of the season, they won 1-0 sketchily. They played very well against Man City, to be fair.
They could have been 3 down and half an hour.
But
they got battered against Wolves, and they beat them, when Wolves should have beat them 5.
Yeah.
So the Palace result after that was coming. It's just the style of football. Jamie's talking about, passion and effort and commitment, and that's the bare minimum.
Yeah.
When you play for a club the size of Tottenham, you've got to be running around and putting a shift in.
Yeah.
And that's what I say about the culture. The culture at that club, they're not doing it.
So let's have a look at the fixtures for whoever's in charge. This week there's Europa League Vitesse, then Goodison this weekend, then an international break. So obviously, it could well be that they wait till the international break.
Well, that's not bad.
What, the fixtures?
Yeah.
Not home to Leeds, and then another game in the Europa Conference, and they go to Turf Moor. It's a very good run of fixtures for a new manager.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Which
Absolutely.
is maybe where Nuno's really frustrated, because he was thinking if we could get through the Man United game, actually I might be into slightly calmer water.
And
but
it wasn't.
But the problem was the football was. You said it. The
it wasn't
football
the Man
was
United
never
game alone, was it?
conducive, was it?
No,
to what
it just wasn't working. He was playing the wrong brand of football. Players wasn't buying into it. They went their separate ways in regards to training ground. It didn't work.
There was just no real plan. At least when Jose was in at Tottenham, I was talking to Clive Allen last night, and he was obviously watching Tottenham every single week like we do, and he said at least when Jose was there. In training, their game plan was: do not give it to anyone in midfield. Bang it into Harry Kane as quick as possible. We'll get Son, we'll get Moura, we'll get runners, and we'll play there. So that was Jose's plan.
And we'll defend well. We'll get in front and defend well.
Fine, if that's your plan.
Yep.
But then Nuno goes in there, and he goes with Oliver Skipp and Højbjerg in midfield, two players that don't really want the ball. Then you got Son and Moura and Kane all out of form. You got fullbacks like Ben Davies, who shouldn't have been playing when Reguilon should have played. It's all just like, what's your plan? So it just seemed inevitable.
It's amazing to think, we've said it before, it's only 2.5 years since they're in a Champions League final. And now here they are.
Crazy, isn't it?
Amazing how quickly
it is.
Which means actually it can change quickly the other way as well. We can't just say you just fall off the top quickly.
No, but that's when they should have strengthened.
Yeah.
That's when we always say, if you're standing still in football, you're going backwards.
Yeah, but there was
get to a Champions League final, you've got to go, right, let's kick on.
Yes, because people will be interested, because we're playing Champions League football regularly now. Yeah. People will want to come.
But he went into a football club which was potentially going to be amazing, but the dressing room wasn't right. And Harry Kane was in, he was out, he was in. He just went into a bad dressing room. The feeling wasn't right. Is the skipper staying? Shall I say the centre forward, the best in the world? Is he staying?
He went through a whole year, remember, when they didn't spend a penny.
And all the chat was about Harry Kane. It's all about, do you want to stay or do you want to go? If I was in the dressing room and I know Harry Kane wants to go, I don't want to play with him. I want him to go. You're
really?
Yeah, 100%.
And everything you've seen in the first 3 months of the season means that even more, doesn't it?
Even as good as you are, good as you, I've played with some of the best. I was very lucky. If they say to the manager of the football club, I don't want to be here, I want to go to Man City, I want to go to Man City, then I don't want to play with that player. Listen, good luck, get out, you're a bad egg at the moment, we want to be... These players want to stay here. You want to go...
And do you think that's still having an impact on the squad?
I don't know. In the back of some players' minds, they'll know that Harry Kane wants to go. They'll know that. How do you bring him into the winning mentality of Spurs if you want to go and play for someone else? It's hard.
Well, that's the first job of the new manager, because he failed to do it, quite clearly.
Conte liked him. Conte tried to take him to Chelsea a few years back. So his first port of call will be, I'm getting Harry Kane back on side. If he takes the job, he'll be the first one he calls.
The most important one.
But he's got to get his head right, because you fast forward a few weeks, the window's going to be open again.
Sure.
So what sort of state of mind is Harry in?
What's Harry Kane worth now? He's not worth 125. Well, certainly not worth 150 million. Not worth 125 million.
2.5 years left on his contract.
Playing like this, what's he worth?
Takes him to 31.
You can have me and Don for $1 million.
Cash.
Yeah, cash. Cash.
Cash only. OK, well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
Do you sense... Would your money be on Conte?
No.
No?
I wouldn't.
No.
Listen, I could be proved wrong, and I hope for Tottenham fans they get him, because he's the best. Yeah. He's the best out there.
Wow.
I just see Antonio Conte looking at that squad and the conversation he's going to have. I need 7 players. Daniel Levy's not going to give him 7
He's not
players.
going to Newcastle, by the way. Just before, he's not going to Newcastle.
You never know, D. You never know.
I was interested that Jamie thought Ipswich were going to get promoted there.